Today we're going to look at the 2025 Babolat Pure Drive 98, and we're going to do a racket review and a test hit so that you can make an informed decision if you want to purchase this racket. I will say that I did like the blue paint job on this one. Babolat over the years has always gone with the blue and the black design, and this particular one almost seems like a silver color, which I really enjoyed. Out of the box, these are my first hits right here that you see. Some are a little clumsy, but out of the box, the racket felt very comfortable. And so let's take a look at the specs. So the head size is 98. The weight of the racket is 11.4 ounces, and the balance is 4 points head light, but yet the racket feels very balanced. The beam width is a standard for a 98, 21, 23, 21. But the flex, look how high that flex is, 71, which means this should be a pretty stiff racket during the play test. And I'll let you know what I thought about that. The 16 by 20 string pattern, and the swing weight is 318, which is a pretty modest swing weight. It's right in the middle. Not too slow, and it's not too fast, so it's a nice swing weight. But if you look at the flex, which says 71, is really high. Means it's a pretty stiff racket, but it does not feel stiff at all. In fact, it is one of the more comfortable rackets that I've demoed here recently, and part of it is because Babolat actually came up with a flux tape on the shaft. That's what they call out in their media. It's some sort of a flux tape on the shaft for better comfort, and I can tell you this is a very comfortable racket. The guy that uses this racket on tour is Pericard, hope I didn't mess that name up, who has probably one of the biggest serves on tour. He's got a big forehand, and he's got more of a flat one-handed backhand. But he's the only touring pro that I know that uses this racket right now, and I'm sure there's others. I just didn't investigate that closely. The other noticeable difference, this is a 98 head, but it's got a 16 by 20 string pattern. And one of the things that I noticed with this racket right away, besides being very comfortable and having a really comfortable swing weight where you really want to swing through the ball, is the ability for spin. On a 98, normally it's more of a control racket, and the 100 heads and the 16 by 19 string patterns are more for spin. But this racket is very spin friendly, and I noticed it right away on my first couple of hits on the forehand and the backhand that spin was easily attainable with this racket. Now this racket is also strong. It's a demo, but it's strong with RPM blast, and I think it's a 16 gauge, so that's also a spin string. And so I usually set up my Babolats with the RPM blast as well. And this racket was surprisingly nifty on the serve as well. As far as spin and power and control, you really felt like you could just put this ball anywhere with the serve. And again, I was quite impressed because I wasn't expecting that with a 98 head. Normally they're a little more control oriented. But this racket, it's funny to say, but it almost feels like it's got a wild side to it, which is a little unusual for a control racket, which is generally speaking a 98. Plenty of access to power with this racket, and I've heard some people say that it feels a little muted. I didn't feel that at all. I felt like this racket was flexy and whippy, and you could basically put the ball anywhere you want, with your serve and with your forehand and your backhand. I found it very friendly to use, which is really surprising because I wasn't expecting that at all with this racket. So let's take a look at the scores that I gave it. So here are my test scores. For the forehand, I gave this racket an 8.5, which is really surprising. But the 8.5 comes from the fact that this racket, you can hit it flat with power, but you can also hit it topspin with power. I was really surprised at the universal methods that you could hit with this racket on the forehand. So I gave it an 8.5. Backhand was pretty much the same. You can hit the backhand with nice topspin, or you can just flatten it out and hit a nice flat drive on your backhand. I found that very good. Volleys, I gave it a 7.0, mainly because it just feels a little bit light up at the net. And if you're more of a volleyer, you might want to think about maybe adding a little bit of weight to the head. The serve I also gave an 8.0, and that's mainly because you can not only flatten that serve out, but you can really get some nice spin, some nice slice, nice kick. Pleasantly surprised on this. I was really surprised at the serve capabilities for a 98 head. Really worked out well. Slice was easy because the racket's pretty maneuverable, so 7.5 on that. And the big surprise for me again was the comfort. This racket was really comfortable and maneuverable for a 98, which is really kind of known more for, yes, maneuverability, but really control, which this racket had both. But it did have a pretty good amount of pop on that racket. You were rewarded when you swing through with this racket. So very, very nice touch to this racket, and a pleasant surprise. I would say this racket is probably, because it's a 98, I would say this racket is probably for someone coming out of the beginner into more of the intermediate and even advanced. Could use this racket. It's very user friendly, and it's very adaptable to most gameplay styles. So I would say if you're beginner looking to move into a more advanced racket, this would be perfect. And if you're already an intermediate or advanced player and looking for a little more comfort or control, give this racket a try. Give it a demo and see how it works for you. Again, it really seemed to work well for me, and I like this racket a lot. I also like the paint job on it. The paint is very, it's kind of modern, and it looks pretty good for the Pure Drive. The Pure Drive is in the 11th generation, if you can believe that. So the racket's been around a while, and I really feel like 2025 model, pretty comfortable, pretty nice racket to give it a try. So that's all I have for today. And if you like the information in the video, please give it a like and a subscribe if I deserve it. And as always, I will see you on the courts. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.